Good morning, my friends. I hope you are having a good week. It is Thursday, and welcome to our Bible reflection for today. Continuing as we go through the first book of Samuel, and what a good read it is. Never a dull moment here. And with that in mind, we pick it up at chapter 20, and here we go. 1 Samuel chapter 20. David fled from Naioth in Ramah. He came before Jonathan and said, "What have I done? What is my guilt? And what is my sin against your father that he's trying to take my life?" He said to him, "Far from it, you shall not die. My father does nothing either great or small without disclosing it to me. And why should my father hide this from me? Never." But David also swore, "Your father knows well that you like me, and he thinks, 'Do not let Jonathan know this, or he will be grieved.' But truly, as the Lord lives, and as you yourself live, there is but a step between me and death." Then Jonathan said to David, "Whatever you say, I will do for you." David said to Jonathan, "Tomorrow is the new moon, and I should not fail to sit with the king at the meal. But let me go, that I may hide in the field until the third evening. If your father misses me at all, then say, 'David earnestly asked leave of me to run to Bethlehem, his city, for there's a yearly sacrifice there for all the family.' If he says, 'Good, it will be well with your servant,' but if he's angry, then know that evil has been determined by him. Therefore deal kindly with your servant, for you have brought your servant into a sacred covenant with you. But if there's guilt in me, kill me yourself. Why should you bring me to your father?" Jonathan said, "Far be it from you. If I knew that it was decided by my father that evil should come upon you, would I not tell you?" Then David said to Jonathan, "Who will tell me if your father answers you harshly?" Jonathan replied to David, "Come, let's go out into the field." So they both went out into the field. Jonathan said to David, "By the Lord, the God of Israel, when I have sounded out my father about this time tomorrow, or on the third day, if he's well disposed towards David, shall I not then send and disclose it to you? But if my father intends to do you harm, the Lord will do so to Jonathan, and more also, if I do not disclose it to you and send you away, so that you may go in safety. May the Lord be with you, as he has been with my father. If I am still alive, show me the faithful love of the Lord. But if I die, never cut off your faithful love from my house. Even if the Lord were to cut off every one of the enemies of David from the face of the earth." Thus Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, "May the Lord seek out the enemies of David." Jonathan made David swear again by his love for him as he loved his own life. Jonathan said to him, "Tomorrow is the new moon. You will be missed, because your place will be empty. On the day after tomorrow, you shall go a long way down. Go to the place where you yourself hid yourself earlier, and remain beside the stone there. I will shoot 3 arrows to the side of it, as though I shot at a mark. And then I will send the boy, saying, 'Go find the arrows.' If I say to the boy, 'Look, your arrows are on this side of you, collect them. Then you are to come, for, as the Lord lives, it's safe for you and there is no danger.' But if I say to the young man, 'Look, the arrows are beyond you,' then go, for the Lord has sent you away. As for the matter about which you and I have spoken, the Lord is witness between you and me forever." So David hid himself in the field. When the new moon came, the king sat at the feast to eat. The king sat upon his seat, as at other times, upon the seat by the wall. Jonathan stood, while Abner sat by Saul's side. But David's place was empty. Saul did not say anything that day, for he thought, "Something has befallen him. He's not clean. Surely he's not clean." But on the second day, the day after the new moon, David's place was empty. And Saul said to his son Jonathan, "Why has the son of Jesse not come to the feast, either yesterday or today?" Jonathan answered Saul, "David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem. He said, 'Let me go, for our family is holding a sacrifice in the city, and my brother has commanded me to be there. So now, if I found favor in your sight, let me get away and see my brothers. For this reason, he's not come to the king's table.' Then Saul's anger was kindled against Jonathan. He said to him, 'You son of a perverse and rebellious woman, do I not know that you've chosen the son of Jesse to your own shame, and to the shame of your mother's nakedness? For as long as the son of Jesse lives upon the earth, neither you nor your kingdom shall be established. Now send and bring him to me, for he shall surely die.' Then Jonathan answered his father Saul, 'Why should he be put to death? What has he done?' But Saul threw his spear at him to strike him, so Jonathan knew it was the decision of his father to put David to death. Jonathan rose from the table in fierce anger, and ate no food on the second day of the month, but he was grieved for David, and because his father had disgraced him. In the morning, Jonathan went out into the field to the appointment with David, and with him was a little boy. He said to the boy, "Run and find the arrows that I shoot." As the boy ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. When the boy came to the place where Jonathan's arrow had fallen, Jonathan called after the boy and said, is the arrow not beyond you?" Jonathan called after the boy, "Hurry, be quick, do not linger." So Jonathan's boy gathered up the arrows and came to his master. But the boy knew nothing. Only Jonathan and David knew the arrangement. Jonathan gave his weapons to the boy and said to him, "Go and carry them to the city." As soon as the boy had gone, David rose from beside the stone heap and prostrated himself with his face to the ground. He bowed 3 times, and they kissed each other and wept with each other. David wept the more. Then Jonathan said to David, "Go in peace, since both of us have sworn in the name of the Lord, saying, 'The Lord shall be between me and you, and between my descendants and your descendants forever.'" He got up and left, and Jonathan went into the city. And this is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. And exciting times, isn't it? Much could be said. I think I want to say in particular just some brief things about the characters involved here in this reading. Firstly, start with David. David here knows his life's under threat. He knows that Saul's out to get him. He can't understand why. You and I know it's just pure jealousy and so on. And David's life's under threat. And David's an interesting character, as we will discover in the next few weeks, because in lots of ways, David was a brilliant man. On the other hand, he was a flawed character as well. What is interesting, though, David's the same man, of course, who later wrote things like the 23rd Psalm. "Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil." And David, you notice David, when David's under pressure, David is exemplary. So he was in danger. His life was in danger when he was a shepherd. His life was in danger now. His life was in danger when he was a king. And when he's under pressure, when he's working hard, so to speak, he's indomitable, he's brilliant, he's fearless, he's full of God and so on. It's noticeable that later on, the time when he messes up with Bathsheba, which I think in the second book of Samuel, we'll discover in a few weeks' time, that's when he was chilling out, when he was relaxing. So David's an interesting character. He wasn't ambitious. There's at no point does he do a power play. He knows that Saul is the king. But I just want to say in particular, you'll notice with David that when David's under pressure, David is brilliant. When David is the danger for David is when he's relaxing, and I think there's something in it for us. We need to keep moving on in our faith. We need to keep pushing on. We need to keep strong. We need to keep going forward, and that's the way our faith will be strong too. So that's David. Then there's Saul. Interesting thing is when Saul works out that Jonathan's working for David. What does Saul say? "You son of a wicked and perverse woman." Notice, of course, that he doesn't blame himself because Jonathan was his son as well. And it's interesting, isn't it? When people get found out, they like to blame other people. Such is the nature of sin, really. Back in Genesis chapter 3, when Adam and Eve eat the apple, and "this woman who you gave me the apple and I ate." It's interesting. You blame other people. And one of the noticeable thing about sin is that we're very, very keen to pass the blame on to other people. And I think there's no important thing there. But I want to say just briefly also 2 things about Jonathan, really. Firstly, as I said a couple of days ago, Jonathan is caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. On the one hand, he's loyal to his father. He's a good Jewish boy. He's loyal to the king, who is his father as well. On the other hand, he's loyal to his friend David, and he knows that David is right, and he's caught between the two. And he tries really, really hard to try and talk Saul down, to try and reassure David. Although ironically, I think he's misguided in that. But he's trying his best to pour oil on troubled water. And Jonathan comes across as a universally nice guy. But in the end of the day, how would the soul song that won the Eurovision Song Contest put it? There becomes a time for making your mind up. And at the end of the day, he is loyal. Jonathan is loyal to David. He knows that David is right. He knows that God is with David, and he's loyal. He's quite rightly loyal to the person who's right, and because he knows his father has got this horribly, horribly wrong. And I think there is for us sometimes. I think sometimes we try our best, and I think it's right that we should. And Jonathan's a wonderful diplomat. But at the end of the day, sometimes there's time for saying we've got to go what's right. We've got to go with God. and we've got to do what's right, which is what Jonathan does here. But I think the other thing which is worth remembering about Jonathan really is that what is not only is he loyal to what he knows God is doing, but he's also, you have to recognize what Jonathan stood to lose. If Saul remained king, then one day Saul would die and Jonathan will become king. He is he's the prince, if you like. He's the Prince of Ephraim. He's the one who would one day king. But if David became king, or if God was with David and Saul lost the kingdom, then Jonathan stood to lose everything as well. And I think it's interesting here that he's more loyal to God and he's more loyal to what's right than he is to his own ambition. And it does remind me in a sense of Philippians in chapter 2. We're talking about Jesus Christ, when St. Paul is talking about Jesus Christ, who, though having the image form of God, did not cling to equality with God, but emptied himself, taking the form of a son, became obedient unto death. And in a kind of prefigure of Jesus Christ, really, you see this with Jonathan here, that he could have been king, but he chose to put that to one side in favour of what he knew to be right, what he knew, he knew that God was with David, and he had to do what's right, and he was prepared to put aside his own ambition, to put aside the possibility he might have had of becoming king, in order to do what is right, in order to go with God. Friends, lots in there. It's a great read. It's a great story. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Have a lovely day, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. Do please pass these messages on to your friends. God bless you, and I'll speak to you again soon.